overview on a few things here with money and finances. What I found is most people are struggling to pay off their mortgages, and most people don't have the right finances structure set up. But also from a retirement point of view, people with superannuation are going to be in a little bit of trouble when they get there. So for today, I've got 15 minutes. I'm just going to move pretty quickly, but I'm going to give you some good ideas and suggestions. So here's the first thing that happens with most people, JAB, they're working in the job. So you're working 50, 60, 70 hours a week, add your travelling time in and shit like that. You go, well, what time have I got to look at my money and my finances? How do I get ahead? You're paying your bills, your expenses, living week to week, that's where most people are at, right? So JAB for me just purely looks like just over broke. And most people are just struggling from day to day, week to week, that's where most people are at, right? The second thing is around about 80% of people are going to retire on about $21,000, so that's $400 a week that most people are going to be living on when they get to retirement. And the third thing, 91% of workers that I've seen, and I've done over 1,100 construction workers in the last 5 years that filled in these financial review forms, and I found that over 90% of workers are going to run out of super 5 to 7 years after they retire. I'm going to show you shortly how that works and what that means, okay? Because for most people, super's not going to be enough when you get to retirement. So, just quickly moving through that, who's got a mortgage? Paying off a mortgage? Okay, there's a few things you can do to pay down your mortgage a lot faster than what you're currently doing. Here's what the banks will do. They'll slot you into a 30-year mortgage, they'll get you payment every month, right? That's what we're doing. Interest rates are now at historically low prices. Everybody paying more than the minimal amount? Yeah. If you can, you really want to be doing that, because the more you can get this thing paid down, the quicker you can get it knocked off, because your home debt is absolutely poor debt. You don't claim any tax breaks or any tax deductions off your home loan. Something you can do as simple as this. If you paid $50 a week, and I'm just going to work on a $300,000 mortgage on a 5% interest rate, just to keep the numbers really, really simple. If you paid off $50 a week, you're going to save about $21,000 in interest if you paid an extra $50 on it. Hands up, who's got an offset account on their home loan? Who doesn't know what an offset account is? Let me quickly show you. This is the way we set up loans when we're talking to our clients in regard to your own home loans and stuff like that. You have your home loan sitting here, you have an offset account sitting on top of it, so all your income goes into your offset account. Now, if you've got $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 in the bank, and you've got a $300,000 home loan, just say you've got 20 grand sitting there, you're now paying interest on $280,000 as opposed to paying interest on $300,000. Is that making sense? The number of people that I've seen off building sites when I go and do a one-on-one appointment at their homes, they've been set up by their bank managers into a home loan, and I go, you've got 30 grand in the bank, do you have an offset account? They go, no, I don't have. What's that? I don't know what an offset account is. Because the bank won't tell you about them. The bank wants to keep you 30 years, hold you in debt for as long as they can, because that's the more money, the more interest they're going to make out of you, yeah? So if you had 20 or 30,000 sitting on an offset account, and you had a home loan over here of 300,000, you're only paying interest now on 270, you're going to start to actually pay less interest up here. You have a credit card attached down the bottom, which is 55 days interest free. That is only used for day-to-day living expenses, so for the missus to do the shopping, the petrol, blah, 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 and then that gets automatically paid in full at the end of the period, every time you do it. So here's what's happening. You're saving money every day of the week because you've got money now sitting on your home loan. You're using the bank's money down here interest-free. Nobody should be paying interest on a credit card. Seriously, if you've got a home loan, you should never be paying any interest on a credit card. Live on your day-to-day basic living expenses over here, get it knocked off 55. So you're winning on the top, you're winning on the bottom. Making sense? Hands up who's set up and structured like that.
I've tried it.
Got to be disciplined with your credit card, okay? That's really key to it. I could talk to you a bit more about that, alright? But yeah, sure, that happens. You need to be keeping an eye on that. So what you can also do, if you've got an offset account, you've also got a credit card set up down the bottom, and you're paying an extra 50 on top of your home loan, you can save up to 115,000 bucks in interest and about 8 to 10 years off your home loan. Alright? Think about it. Instead of waiting 30 years to pay your home off, you've got it now knocked off in, 20, 22, and you've saved another 115,000 in interest. You can take that money then and use it for other things, and start to help build, grow and invest. So we'll just touch on that. We've got that done. The next thing I'll talk to you quickly about is a wealth plan. Now, for most people, when they're working, This is how rich people build and accumulate wealth. Here's what they do. Your income comes in, right? You're all out there earning money, your missus might be working. First thing that happens over here, you should pay yourself first. Hands up, who's heard of this concept? I learned about it about 15, 16 years ago when I started to invest and put money into property. Never actually heard of it, because when we get paid, here's what we do. Need to pay the mortgage, need to pay the bills, need to pay the food, the grocery, the kids, etc, etc. And we get to the bottom and we go, there's none left, how do we save? What wealthy people do, the minute they get paid, they just take a portion of that money, they take it over here and they save. So if you're earning $1,000 a week, they might take $100. Put it over here and build what we call is a cash cushion. Now we're in the building industry, right? So we're talking about there's no such thing as job security, correct? You need to build a cash cushion beside you. This would be the first thing that I would suggest to any person that I see working on a building site. You need a cash cushion of 30 to 60 days income built and put aside. That means if you're out of work for a few weeks or a month or something like that, or something goes south, you've now got a cash buffer sitting over here that keeps you safe and keeps you protected. You can still pay your mortgage, you can still keep living day to day while you get another job, yeah? Now what they do is they build it over here and they set that up. Then they keep saving, and what they do is they then take those savings and they bring them over here and they put them into an asset that builds and grows. So all they're doing is take a portion off the top. You still live and do what you do underneath, but learn how to make it grow, put it over here, let it build into an asset that builds and grows. I talk about property and stuff like that, yeah? Cool. So that's the basic concept. They have a budgeted lifestyle, so you need to know what your living expenses are. I've got a cash flow calculator. I put all my clients through it. You need to know your income, your expenses, where's all your money going? How much surplus cash do you have at the end of every week if you really sat down and had a look at it? Can you get 50, 100, 200 and put it over here and get into an asset that builds and grows? Because then you've got your home growing, you've got your super growing, you've got 1 or 2 investments over here starting to move. You're going to be in a better position? You're going to have more control over your money and finances. Because here's the problem with super. Basically for most people now, if you're sitting there thinking, right, I just want to pay me house down and I'm going to have some super when I get to retirement, here's the biggest problem that you guys have got. Number one, you don't have any control over super. Within CBUS, you can pick what sector of the fund you want your money invested in, but outside of that, you don't control the economy, the stock markets, the government, the changes to the tax laws, do you? So if you're just sitting there and you're hoping that, you know, super, when I get to retirement, I'm going to have tons of super, and something goes south with the economy, the government's changed, the tax laws changed, you're sitting there with all your eggs in one basket. Making sense? If you're also sitting there with 1 or 2 investment properties on the side, you're going to be in a lot better, a stronger position, you're going to have more security, you're going to have more control, and you're going to be able to do a lot better than you would just sitting there with super. That's why I started this business, because I found 2 guys rang me up 5.5 years ago. They'd been in the industry 45 years, both of them. All they had was super. The GFC hit, they lost 40% of their super. At 68 years of age, they're calling me up saying, hey Tony, can you help me get a job on a building site? I've got to go back to work. So what are you talking about, you're going back to work? You've been retired 3 years. Mate, I'm screwed, I've lost 40% of my super, that's all I've got to go back to work. That's when I set this business up. I thought, this is just crazy. We've got to go out and teach people how to do things a little bit better and do it a little bit easier. So I know I'm moving through this pretty quickly because we've only got a 15-minute window here. But here's the plan. This is what I'm teaching people, how to have a property wealth plan. Get your house and get your mortgage and get that knocked off and paid down as quickly and as fast as you can, number one. Number two, have your super and all that stuff over here because your employers are tipping in and it's good money going in and hopefully the markets pick up and do what they're supposed to do. The only downside to super is what I just said, there's no real control over it, right? Put it this way though, if we didn't have super, most working people in this country would have nothing because people don't save, so we need to have your super. Get 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 investment properties into your game as fast as you can, as quick as you can. Now, who wants to know how it works, how you can invest in property for less than $50 a week? Who can afford $50 a week? Show of hands right now. If you want to put 50 aside and go, hey, come and show me how to do this, I want to learn what to do. Here's how it works. As I said, I've had over 1,100 building workers do these free financial reviews, right? Here are the numbers and the statistics. The average building worker I see has got a $500,000 home, worth about 500 grand. They've got about 200,000 of debt on their property. He's up there earning around 90,000 bucks a week. By the way, this is something else I just quickly want to touch on. Do not go and get finance or borrow money based on overtime. I've run into shitloads of building workers who have gone out, the banks have loaned them money on 140, 150 because they've had bucket loads of overtime. Here's the problem though, your mortgage's up to here, your payments are through the roof. The minute your company doesn't have much work and you're sitting over shit, overtime's been chopped off, what do? Because your cash flow's been screwed up, you're going to run into trouble. So we base it on the minimum, all right? So I'm talking 90 grand here. Now, what happens in here, you've got a 500 grand property with 200 grand of debt. You've now got 300,000 in equity. Everybody understand that? You got it? You can access $300,000 out of your own home. I always talk about 80%. This is how we set up and structure these loans. An 80% loan to value ratio, that's 80% of the value of the property. So the equity in here, 80% of that is 240,000 that you could access right now. Is everybody with me so far? With that 240, you can now use a portion of that money to go over here and put yourself into an investment property. We do a cash flow analysis, make sure you've got your incomes and everything's going all right here. We do this on 240 on a $500,000 investment. You're going to need 20% to go down, so it's 100,000. Okay, so out of that 240 goes 100 over here, that's your 20%. The other 80% up here is borrowed. So here's what happens. Your house stays over here, it's standalone. We draw a line down the centre, we've got a separate lender, and over here you've now got, that house is now mortgaged over here in a separate loan, a separate facility. Making sense? Then down here, here's what we do for building workers. Because of job security, we will put in a $20,000, $30,000 or a $40,000 buffer. This is an account that's now attached to that investment property. So here's what happens. The rent goes in here, the expenses come in and out of here, your cash flow, your home is still standalone over here. Now, here's what happens at the end of the 12 months. Because of the way property works, when you invest, you pay less tax. So you will now have depreciation schedules, all costs against that investment property are now tax deductible. So your taxable income could go from 90,000 down to around about 70,000. So instead of paying tax on 90, you're now paying tax on 70, you're now paying less tax. Making sense? Your tax returns will be between 5 to 15,000. Now, what would you do with that money? Bring it over here, start knocking that down there. You with me? So when you're investing, you pay less tax, you pay less tax, you pay down debt. Can you see the sense behind this now? This is how it works. I'm just giving you a lesson 101. I know it's quicker, I know it's fast, but just to give you an understanding. Now, the cost of that property, I do a thing called a PIA report, right? I find all the right properties for my clients. I do all the background work, research, due diligence. I've got property management set up. We do the financing, we set the loans and the structures up. And we do what's called a PIA report. So before any client of mine even looks like buying a property, I will give you the numbers inside that property. Because apart from all the, the general basics around investing, location, infrastructure, government spending, jobs, employment, all that stuff, the key thing you want to know is how do the numbers work inside of it? So we do what's called a PIA, it's a property investment analysis. And in this report, and in this example here, the net cost here is $38 a week. Over 10 years, the average cost is about $40 a week, and the net return is around about $320,000. So what you have to look at with a property, and everything we're doing is 10 to 15 years, okay? So if it's costing you, let's just go 40 bucks a week. That's 2K a year, okay? Over 10 years, that's 20 grand. That's been your cost. Now remember we spoke about your cash flow, you can afford 40 bucks a week, 50 bucks a week. So your 40's going over here, so you put 20 grand in over 10 years. That property is now gone from 500, let's just say 800,000. So you got 300. For 20,000, you've now increased your equity and your net worth by 300,000. Question for you. Tell me, in 10 years, how could you save or build or grow 300,000? How are you going to do it? Here's the challenge now for most working families. This is what I see. Have your house, have your super, but learn some stuff like this where you know how to, it's called leverage. You're using other people's money, you're using the bank's money. What's your risk over here? Your risk is the 40 bucks a week. Can you afford the 40 bucks a week or the 50 bucks a week? The bank are holding the risk up here with the mortgage.
What about the 100,000 that you put from there to there?
Yeah, that's just sitting there. Worst scenario, you're just going to sell.
It's 300,000, not 200,000.
Sorry?
That mortgage is 300,000, not 200,000, because the 100,000 want to secure that one.
Yeah, it's okay, but it's sitting there. It's earning your money. It's making your money. With me?
Yeah.
Okay? We'll get into a lot more detail. Tonight, I've just got to go like this, yeah?
Yeah, fair enough, sorry.
But it's just leveraging a little bit of that money there, borrowing the bank's money over here, having it set up in a way it helps you build and grow your net worth, yeah? Does everyone get that? I know it's quick, I know it's sharp, we've got 15 minutes, it's a lunchtime talk. I appreciate you popping in and having a look at it. Hopefully it's just opened your eyes up a bit, giving you a few ideas. What we do is we do free personal wealth reviews. So if you want to fill in one of the forms, give us your basic details. We'll come out to your house, do a one-on-one appointment, and we go through this stuff in a lot more detail. But we see what you can do, what you can afford, what are you comfortable with, and if it's not for you, it's not for you. But if it is and you want some help and assistance to learn how to do it, know how to do it. I've been doing properties for over 16 years myself. My finance guy, my tax guy, we're all investors. This is what we do. Okay, so if you want any help and you're interested in going forward, feel free to touch base, fill the forms in today. I appreciate you coming in, giving up a bit of your lunchtime. I hope you enjoyed it, got something out of it. And look, I'm a published author. I was a builder's labourer. I learned all this stuff myself. Got some smarter people around me that helped me do it, you know. So if we can help you out, love to do that. Guys, I appreciate your time. Thanks very much for coming in. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks.